Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. How are you guys? I was actually just downstairs and I was like, I'm gonna be done for tonight. But then one of my longtime subscribers, Bree, sent me this amazing blog that I had to share with you because first off, it's girls defined or girl defined. Second of all, it's Bethany Beal. And third of all, it's a blog where she is trying to convince herself of something. And these are my favorite kinds of blogs. Not because I hate Bethany, but Bethany is the kind of blogger that she and her sister Kristen, who run Girl Defined, they're the type of bloggers that if they have a problem with something, instead of admitting that it's their problem, they often use stories from other people. So they have women write in, young girls write in about the issues they're facing. And instead of them talking about their own issues that they're facing in relationships or whatever, they often use the girls who have the flaws as an example. They rarely themselves will admit that there's flaws. They'll be open about certain things, but they always pretend like they are so okay with their lives and everything is perfect. So when I saw this blog, I was like, Bethany is trying to convince herself of this. And I'll tell you why. Because first off, she dedicated an entire blog to the fact that her husband Dave is shorter than her. Like, who cares? Nobody cares, Bethany. Literally, no one cares. Bethany is humongous for a woman. I said that out loud. Yes, she is 6'1". Her entire family is really tall. And they talk about that a lot on the channel. And so it would be hard for any 6'1" woman, theoretically, to, the average height of the American man is around 5'10". So, you're above average. The average height of a woman, I believe, is 5'6". So she's, well above average. So in order to find a guy that she not only likes, but is also taller than her would be a challenge considering the fact that she's so tall, right? So obviously she's got to convince everyone she's okay with her husband being shrimpy. We all know Dave. I can't stand Dave because he spells his name D-A-V, even though we know that his name is David and his name growing up was probably D-A-V-E, but he dropped the E just to be a pretentious a-hole, okay? So today on her Instagram account, she dropped this little gem, and it's pretty funny because it's all about Dave's shrimpiness. So on the vlog, she says, thoughts on dating and marrying a shorter guy. Now, she insists that she's okay with marrying a shorter guy, but I have to show you some things that I found after I read this to you. She said, I'd never had a first date quite like this one. Dave, and she has to put the tilde over the A. His name is frickin' David. He doesn't have a tilde and he doesn't have an E at the end of the name. It drives me nuts. And I were strangers to each other. In fact, we were the opposite. We had been hanging out in the same friend group for several years. Our group had traveled together, laughed together, and cried together, and watched several members of the group get married and start families. Dave, tilde A, and I were close friends. What is he? I don't understand this. Is he from Spain? Because you only put tildes over A, like the Spanish language. I didn't know he was Spanish. And I were close friends, and we were both well aware of the fact that I was taller than him and older than him. So she's 5.5 years older than him, and she's taller than him. Oh my God, Bethany. Oh my God, the humanity. There was some things you just can't hide in life. So little did I ever expect him to ask me out on a date. To our entire group's shock and surprise, nobody had put the two of us together. Dave asked me out for dinner and I quickly accepted. Our first date was quite like your typical first date. We knew a ton about each other and I wasn't interested in wasting my time or his. And I wanted to know his intentions and I wanted to get the elephant out of the room. So, I'm taller than you and I personally don't mind, but what do you think about it? Does it bother you? Why would that be your first question if you're not bothered by it? And why would you think he would ask you out if you're worried about it? See, here's the thing. When I was little, I did dream about a taller husband only because I'm super short. And I wanted a husband that was taller than me, so if I had children, they wouldn't be super short like me. That was it. I was doing it for the betterment of, my offspring. My husband is 6 feet tall, and I am 5'3". But it's not hard to find a taller guy. It would be weird for me to be dating a guy that's not taller than me. it would be weird, right? Most guys aren't as short as me. Rarely. There are some, but it's not common. And I said, if you're anything like me, tall and taller than most guys around you, you've probably had the thought about height differences run through your mind. Some tall girls feel like they could never marry a guy shorter than them. Some guys feel like they could never marry a girl taller than them. Some girls pray for a man with godly character and finish every prayer with the words, and please help him be taller than me. Okay, I get it. I've totally been there. I can remember being in high school, praying for my future husband and saying, God, please make sure he's taller than me, just a little taller than me. He would be fine, nothing extreme. I remember one of my summer camp church counselors telling me, God cares about these little things. I'm sure he has a taller man for you. As a high school girl, I was pretty confident that I would end up with a guy taller than me. I never thought actually end up with a guy that was shorter than me. So this right here proves my point. She still is not, she can't, this whole blog is about her convincing herself that she is literally okay with the fact that Dave is a shrimp. Okay? Instead of making height one of the most important factors on my list, I began to place a higher priority on a man's character. I mean, that's not a bad thing. When Dave and I began a man's character, slowly but surely I started finding myself attracted to a guy based on friendship, character, and other qualities that could truly last. Well, sure. I mean, you have to like the person that you're going to marry, but praying for someone taller sounds weird. Then Dave and I started our relationship. I can honestly tell you that our height difference wasn't an issue for me. I was super attracted to him and loved him just the way that he was. I didn't care that he was shorter. In fact, I liked the way that we broke the mold and didn't fit inside the box. I liked the unique aspect of our friendship, including our height difference. I was so grateful to God that I had the opportunity to date a man with such incredible character. Wow, she spends a lot of time thinking about his height if she doesn't care about it, right? This is just bizarre to me. Okay. So then she goes on to say, I've had many of you message me asking my thoughts on dating and marrying a guy who is shorter than you. Many of you have told me that you're in a relationship with a shorter guy and you feel self-conscious. So she makes a checklist for why she's like, how you can, guy heart check test. What are the things that you should care about? Because height isn't one of them, according to Bethany. And remind you, she was 30, maybe 31 when she got married. So in her world, she was an old lady because she's in the evangelical, like very have as many babies as possible world. She said, this is so important. Do you view yourself through a biblical lens, recognizing that God created you fearfully, wonderfully, and he truly loves you fully? Do you find your identity in God's view and rather than in men? Or do you view yourself through the lens of social media, Hollywood, and your own critiques? If so, you're going to face a lot of insecurity and you will crave the approval and acceptance of others, i.e. Bethany does not get the acceptance and approval from others, so she's trying to convince you that she has it herself. I encourage you to do a heart check in this area. Ask yourself when you find your identity, where you find your worth. Was funny? They didn't even like each other when they first met. Do you wonder why? Sometimes I'm like, oh, you didn't like each other? Did you friend zone each other? That does not surprise me. Did you then get married because you made a pact? Were you like Rachel and Ross? Like, when I'm turned 30 and you turn 25, if you are not married, we will get married. What is the purpose of my body? Your body and everything about you is not about you. God created you on purpose and for purpose. He created you to experience a deep, well-knowing relationship with himself. You were created for God. Love him and serve him with all that you are. And more you can get your mind living for God's glory and seeking to serve him in all those areas, the easier you'll be to view your body as a tool to serve God. What? This is just like jibber jab. Absolute jibber jab. What do I value most in a potential husband? The more I began to live for God in my own life, the more I began to value a man who desired the same things. Instead of placing so much initial focus on SA, I started to look deeper. I started to value things like friendship, his heart for God, and what he was passionate about in each other in a romantic sense at first. We weren't interested in each other in a romantic sense at first. Well, that's because you're a girl, Bethany. It wasn't until we developed a deeper understanding of each other through friendship that we began to see qualities that we admired because you were getting older. Is that admiration of one another that eventually led to physical attraction? Yeah. And nobody's convinced Bethany. He does not want to touch you. Anyway, why do I care so much about what people think? Well, if you didn't care about what people think, Bethany, you wouldn't be writing this blog. This is one of the biggest hangups I have when it comes to the issue of height. Deep in your heart, you care about the height because you think that other people care and value the opinion of you. Why does that matter? Why does it matter so much what other people think about your height or his height? When it comes to outward appearance and physical attraction, it's going to look a little bit different for every one of us. Don't allow someone else's attraction preference to keep you from getting to know that really godly guy. The more you can free yourself from the petty opinions and preferences of others, the freer you will be. I'm not convinced that you're okay with this, Bethany. I'm literally not convinced. I'm beyond grateful that I didn't allow the height difference to be a deal breaker for me. Being married to Dave has been and continues to be one of the greatest joys of my life. I love being married to him and could literally care less that he's shorter than me. I love how unique our relationship is. I love our height differences inspires. I love how our height difference inspires other people to do the same. This is what I cannot stand about Bethany. She and Kristen have such a high opinion of themselves that she literally thinks everything that she does is an inspiration for others to follow suit. She is such a narcissist. Like, do you really think people give a crap that your husband's shorter? Nobody cares, Bethany. I didn't even know he was shorter until you told me. That's how little I cared. I can't imagine my life without Dave. Don't allow the height issue to be the thing that keeps you from ending up with a really godly guy. So then she encourages people to trust, pray on it and blah, 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 blah. So I was thinking about this. So if she really did not care, right, about his size, theoretically, we should see photos of her then embracing the fact that she's way taller than him, right? So I was digging through her photos on her Instagram and nope, she's constantly trying to make herself look shorter in photos by bending her knees. And it's not just in one photo. Like in every photo, she's literally hunching down to try to make herself look shorter. Like always, look, she's bending down there to try to look shorter. Again, bending down to look shorter. Again, bending down to look shorter. She puts her knees out like that to look shorter. And she always cocks her head to the side because she doesn't want her head to look taller than him. It's so obvious that she's insecure about this because she's always trying to look shorter than him, walking behind him, putting her knees out. I would be a lot less critical about what she does if she was just more real, right? If she would just admit that she struggles with this, if she would just admit you know what, I'm weirded out that my husband is smaller than me. And I'm sure the fact that she's currently pregnant right now is not helping the fact that she is, not only taller than him, but probably feeling bigger than him. And when women feel bigger than men, they get very self-conscious. It's just a thing. We always are groomed as children that we should always, as women, be smaller than men. We should always be less weight, way less than our men. So when we don't, and we are outside of that box, a lot of times because of the way it's been enmeshed into our brains, we feel insecure. And she's probably feeling insecure. She's 2 weeks away from having a baby. If she didn't care, she wouldn't constantly try to make herself look shorter. And she's not even that much taller than him. She's barely taller than him that you would notice it in photos. Maybe 2 inches, tops. It's not like she's dating a guy who's 5'5" and she's 6'1", or she doesn't have the same kind of height difference that my husband and I have. I am a shrimp next to my husband. I am 5'3" and he is 6 feet tall. I mean, it's a big height difference between us, only almost a foot. I just wish that, these two women would be more transparent. And even in this photo, again, she's bending down to look shorter. You can see with her knee, she's leaning into him and bending down to look shorter. Bethany, nobody believes you. But more importantly, Bethany, the more you write stuff like this, the more everyone that reads it realizes that you aren't convinced And I wonder how that makes Dave feel, that you have to literally dedicate a blog to your husband's shortness and justify why you're okay with it and telling other people to be okay with it too. It's something that sticks in you, that bothers you, and instead of actually admitting it bothers you, you have to pretend like it's okay because you are never wrong and you are never unhappy. Oh my God. All right, you guys, this is all I've got for tonight. But yeah, Bethany is rude. We don't like Bethany. Bethany is, ugh. If you want any idea about Bethany, I would encourage you to watch God is Gray, Brenda. So they held a conference this past fall, and at the conference, they called out God is Gray, Brenda, who is a progressive Christian that believes that, you know, all things that like Christian people can support people that are part of the LGBTQ plus. And she and her sister Kristen at a conference this fall basically slammed Brenda and said she wasn't a Christian and that believing these things are like an abomination, and then they sort of mocked Taylor Swift's video or song called Calm Down, which is about acceptance for the community. And they are like, no, we don't need to calm down. We don't need to accept this because it's not right. Like, that's all you need to know about Kristen and Bethany. She calls out Brenda, who's literally one of the nicest people on YouTube. She's got this like totally Zen vibe. And they make an example of her by like humiliating her and putting her YouTube channel up during a conference so that they can slam her. That's all you need to know about Bethany and Kristen. If you want to check out Girl Defined, you can. They're on YouTube. Just type in Girl Defined, or you can check out their amazing blog at girldefined.com. Yay! All right, we're going to be doing more Girl Defined on this channel, so get used to this and be here often. All right, you guys, I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you have a good night. Bye.